Get out. The rain was already hitting the windshield when my father said it. I was 15. My sister stood behind him on the porch, arms crossed, eyes red like she'd been crying for hours. He stole it, she whispered. I saw him. Stole what? Her bracelet, the expensive one our aunt had gifted her. I hadn't even touched it, but in our house, her tears were evidence. My explanations were excuses. My mother didn't ask questions. She didn't search my room again. She didn't hesitate. If you can lie this calmly, she said, you can stand outside and think about what you've done. Thunder cracked across the sky. I looked at my father, waiting for something, doubt, hesitation, anything. He avoided my eyes. Just until you admit it, he muttered. Admit what? The rain started pouring harder, cold, sharp, unforgiving. I stepped onto the driveway barefoot. The door closed, locked, at 15. Over a lie. Lightning lit up the street for a second, and in that flash I saw my reflection in the wet car window, small, shaking, but not crying. Inside the house, I could see shadows moving past the curtains. My sister probably hugging my mother, my father probably pacing. They believed her, not because she had proof, but because she was easier to believe. She was louder, softer, dramatic. I was quiet, and quiet people are always suspected of hiding something. The storm grew worse. Wind howled down the empty road. Water soaked through my clothes within minutes. I knocked once, not aggressively, not desperately, just once. No answer. That's when something inside me shifted. It wasn't anger. It was clarity. If they could abandon me this easily over a story, then maybe I had misunderstood my place in this family. I walked toward the gate, slowly, rain blurring my vision. My heart was racing, but my face stayed calm. I wasn't thinking about revenge. I was thinking about survival. The road outside our house was almost empty. Streetlights flickered. Water rushed along the sidewalks like a river trying to escape the city. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I wasn't staying there. Behind me, thunder roared again. And in that moment, standing alone in the storm at 15 years old, I realized something important. Sometimes the loudest lie wins, until the truth finds someone stronger. I stepped into the dark street. They thought I would come back begging. They had no idea that someone else was about to see me standing there and change everything. The storm didn't slow down. If anything, it grew heavier, like the sky itself had decided to test how long I could stand there. I had walked 2 streets away when headlights cut through the rain. A car slowed beside me. For a second, fear tightened my chest. I was 15, soaked, alone at night. The window rolled down. It was Mr. Kareem, the old mechanic who owned the small workshop near our street. Grease-stained hands. Always quiet, always observant. He looked at me once, then toward my house in the distance. Get in, he said calmly. No questions, no suspicion, just certainty. I hesitated. Your father didn't see you leave, he added softly. But I did. That sentence stayed with me. Your father didn't see you, but I did. I got into the car. He handed me a towel from the back seat and turned the heater on. We didn't talk much on the drive. He didn't interrogate me, didn't ask for explanations. He simply said, storms show you who closes doors and who opens them. That night, he let me sleep in the small office behind his workshop. The next morning, I expected my parents to come looking. They didn't. Not that day. Not the next. Instead, my sister's bracelet was found 2 days later under her own bed. No apology. No explanation. Just silence. My mother called once. Come home. Let's forget this. Forget. I realized something in that moment. They wanted comfort. I wanted clarity. I didn't go back. Mr. Kareem didn't officially adopt me. He didn't need to. He gave me something more important than sympathy, responsibility. I started helping at the workshop after school, cleaning tools, organizing parts, watching him repair engines piece by piece. Engines fascinated me. They were honest. If something broke, there was a reason. If something failed, you found the fault and fixed it. No drama, no lies. My father stood inside the workshop, rainwater from that memory almost visible in his eyes. I didn't know, he said quietly. I didn't ask what he meant. Didn't need to. Mr. Kareem handed me a file, the expansion proposal we had just finalized. My name was printed beside his as co-owner. My father noticed. His fingers tightened slightly. I came to ask if you'd consider coming back home. He added, things haven't been stable. I met his gaze calmly. I'm already home. Not cruel, not emotional, just true. He looked around again. The organized tools, the busy staff, the steady movement of people who trusted this place. Trust, that was the difference. I should have listened, he said. Maybe he had. Just too late. I don't hold anger. I replied evenly, but I don't return to closed doors either. He nodded slowly. When he left, his hands shook slightly, not from fear, from understanding. They thought I was weak because I stood quietly in that storm. They didn't realize I was simply waiting for a stronger roof to stand under. Over time, he began teaching me properly how to diagnose, how to calculate, how to understand systems instead of guessing. You don't react to noise, he once told me while tightening a bolt. You diagnose the source. I applied that lesson to everything. While my parents maintained appearances at family gatherings, telling relatives I was staying with a friend for studies, I was building skill, quietly. At 17, I earned a small certification. At 18, I was running parts of the workshop operations myself, inventory, budgeting, customer relations. Meanwhile, I heard things through neighbors. My sister had developed a habit of exaggerating stories. Small lies turning into bigger ones. Drama at school. Arguments at home. Trust in that house had started cracking. But I didn't gloat. I didn't post about my growth. I didn't send updates. I woke up early, worked late, learned constantly. By 19, I helped Mr. Kareem digitize the workshop system. We expanded services, increased revenue, opened a second location in partnership. He made me co-manager on paper, not out of pity, out of merit. One afternoon, a familiar car pulled into the workshop. My father stepped out. He looked around, surprised at the size of the place, the staff moving efficiently, customers waiting patiently. Then he saw me standing confidently near the office door, giving instructions. For a brief second, his hands trembled, not from anger, from realization. He hadn't expected to see me there. Not like that. The boy he left in a storm was now part of something stable, structured, growing. He approached slowly. I heard you're doing well, he said. I nodded politely. We are. Not I. We. Because I hadn't built this alone. He looked past me toward Mr. Kareem, who stood calmly beside the office. And in that quiet exchange of glances, my father understood something without words. The storm had taken me from his house, but it had delivered me to someone who knew how to build. They were still telling stories at home. I was already building systems that didn't collapse, and for the first time in years, my father wasn't speaking. He was observing,